This is the Stone Vertical Epic 050505, released May 5th of 2005. It's an 8.5% Belgian ale with nothing added except a very special Belgian yeast. We are 4 beers into it at this point, so let's see how this one holds up. And what were you doing in May of 2005?
Drink it or dump it.
Now, all right, so the 5 is with Amarillo hops, described as roastiness with clove hops, fruitiness, and funky phenols.
You guys want fresh glassware, or you just want to rinse between?
I think this is fine.
Probably good.
Yeah.
So 05, 05, 05.
Cletus, what were you doing in 2005?
Let's see, 2005. That was the year my kids were born. Thanks for asking. I had just wrapped up my latest one-man show called White Like Me. And
That's not problematic.
no, not. I guess that's another thing we can't talk about.
We were worried about Kaffir
now.
lime.
But in May of 05 is when my twins were born. So that was a busy year for me.
So your life went straight to hell.
Straight to hell. And I've never been the same since. In 04, I had a full head of hair.
Love to see those photos.
No, you
Oh,
won't.
look at that. There's,
No, you
there's
won't.
plenty of carbonation on this
Yeah,
one.
this is carbonated. This was in Steve's cellar. Nice and dark, a lot darker.
I meant to say on 04, that's when Chris and I started at Stone.
Wow.
Okay, yeah. That's a milestone right there.
First vertical epic.
Well, cheers to 05 and 04 being milestone years. Hey,
Wee.
No, those acoustics.
so
In case
Steve,
anybody's starting to fall asleep.
Steve, talk about the creative process of not only these beers, but in the early days. Where were you finding inspiration, and what was that process like?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, at first in San Diego, there was inspiration all around, really. I mean, between Pizza Port and, Blind Pig and some of the other great
Pizza Port.
things going on
And
locally.
Blind Pig.
Yeah, I mean, and
AleSmith?
when we started, Ballast Point and AleSmith, and
Yeah.
there was a lot of really, and I'm forgetting some, which I'm sorry, but a lot of very creative, good stuff going on. And, as I was pretty involved with recipes at the beginning for the original ones, and then ongoing for a while, but at some point, I had to sort of run other parts of the company, and the Vertical Epic series was kind of the first series, I think, that I let go to some degree the recipe formulation. So
Was that tough for you?
No, I was too damn busy, especially contemplating, 11 beers over the next years or whatever. So, and it was a great opportunity for Lee Chase and some of our staff to have a run at it and develop something. So,
Did it seem like it was a realistic project at the time?
I think that it did. Yeah, it did. The 0202 was really tough because that was very last minute, and we only were able to.
Hey guys, I got this idea.
Weird.
Luckily, that was the only time.
Wait, that wouldn't have been right. That was
the
the
only
only
time
time
it
you came up with
happened.
that.
I just got PTSD.
Jeremy's curled up in a ball in the corner.
But yeah, I was a little late and a little rushed, but yeah, after that we kind of got into it, and it's we got a year and 1 month every year to come up with the next one, so it got better, and yeah, it was actually a fun project.
This is fantastic.
I was just going to say the same exact thing. I feel like they're really building in character. This one is from the carbonation to the body is.
It's almost like we're going up in freshness.
Yeah,
Weird, isn't
it's crazy.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, but this is a leap in it. Yeah, I'm with you though. You know, I found something really interesting when we did the 12-12-12, not that beer, but we did the grand tasting at Stone. I invited people who had their own bottles that they'd cellared over the years, including a guy who had taken his stash, I think, through '08 or '09 up to Alaska when he moved there, and then a few years later, he moved back down. And so these were well-traveled bottles and all that. Some people are like, yeah, I live in Arizona. I kept it in the kitchen cabinet. And
We didn't have air conditioning.
yeah, exactly. And so the bottom line is we tasted them against our Stone kept, which were religiously kept in the cold box the whole time, and side by side. And what I found fascinating is that some of the poorly kept, poorly stored ones were actually more flavorful.
Yeah.
Of a couple of I don't remember the notes now, but it was really quite something.
You'll know that's true when we get to the ones that I was storing. So we'll see. I like to say they were sitting in my sauna.
Well, the beginning of the series was actually to introduce people to the concept that you could archive beers, you could cellar beers, because that was not common. I mean, there would have been such a small subset of beer geeks that would have had a concept of that at that time. And so we kind of wanted to help popularize sort of a wider range of thinking when it came to beer, what beer could be, what it should be, you know, because usually what it should be was quite narrow in the public's mind. You know, the stuff with the billboards and television commercials. And just expressing that, you know, all of the art that these guys do. I do the talking, these guys do the, you know, the actual real work. And
That's how we like it.
It's a formula that's working.
Yeah, it's worked for a while. So
At what point did you consider the IPA, the Stone IPA, to be your flagship? And at what point did you also at what point did you start to realize that it wasn't just your flagship, but it was the benchmark to how other IPAs were being measured?
Well, I mean, in my recollection, which may differ from other people's, but I mean, it was kind of a slow burn for the Stone IPA. You know, it was not super popular first. We released it on our first anniversary, so in 1997, and you know, it was by those standards in that day, it was pretty bitter and aggressive, and you know, higher alcohol and challenging for a lot of people. So it was kind of a slow burn on that one. So it took a while. Eventually, it became our flagship just on sales and stayed there for a long time. So.
yeah, I remember thinking 6.9% heavily, you know, very hoppy beer that was well outside of the realm of commonality at the time. I had trouble contemplating how it could ever be a draft brand, because how do you go to a pub, drive to a pub, and have a couple beers and get home safely? Right? You know, just the culture of the pub culture was very different, you know, unless you're maybe in an urban core. Everywhere else would have been very different. And yet that didn't seem to, you know, people figured their way around it. And but here's something I remember, Steve, and I'm wondering if you recall it the same, is that when we moved into Citricado Parkway, so we spent the first 10 years of our life on Mattaway as a brewery only. Then we built our new facility with a restaurant included and started brewing in 2006. And I think it was then that new equipment just seemed to make Stone IPA not taste different, but just sing, you know, just really, all the harmonics were just like really there.
I think it cleaned it up a little bit in some ways. That was, I think it made it better. I don't know. You guys, what do you think? Do you remember that? That was.
yeah, no, I agree. I was just thinking when I started at Stone in 2004, I was a dark beer guy. IPAs were not even in my sphere, and obviously working at Stone, I got exposure to it. But it was about a year where I was Arrogant Bastard, just blew my mind, and so that's what I drank for a year. But everybody around me was drinking IPA, and I finally caved in. And I mean that was a turning point in my career for sure. To get introduced to IPAs.
Do you remember any transition from the flavor profile that I was just describing from the old brewery to the new brewery?
Yeah, I think it definitely cleaned it up, and I think it was better hop utilization too. So I would probably say that it was hoppier once we got to the new place.
And it was just more consistent too, you know? I mean,
Yeah.
I always prided us on our consistency at Stone, but I think that new brew house allowed us to
And that was '06.
get closer every time.
And a lot more control over
Yep,
everything,
yep,
every
the
aspect of the brew.
parameters and
Yeah.
everything, yep.
Well, if you mention '06, we're going to open the '06.
All right,
'06,
Perfect.
'06.